we are pretty much done for the 3-inch. We're just done. So I'll just show you. Let me just show you this. Just show you this is 3-inch, right? So basically we have if we look at the door speakers, right, we are crossing about 300 plus, which is right here. The left and right is the pink and blue respectively. So we know that it is in phase. Now when we look at the left and right mid-range, we can see that it's actually more or less in phase right here, the left and right. And then the next thing, we're going to join the 3-inch to the tweeter. So we'll try to achieve the same thing, which is right here. Yes, it's not perfect, but however, this is a car. A car is difficult to have perfect because the glass is reflective, the interior is reflective. There's a lot of acoustics obstruction inside the car. So let me just close the doors so we can see the mid-range clearly. So the mid-range are all in time now. So I want you to see that for this mid-range we are crossing about 4,000 right here to the tweeters. As you can see that the both speakers are in phase, right? So there are some EQ that we've done for the 3-inch. You can see there's some EQ. It's not that we don't use EQ, we just try to minimize the number of EQ that we need and use crossover optimizedly, so we know that it is in the most perfect condition for us. So if you can see that what we're trying to achieve here is that at 4,000 hertz, right, you can see at 4,000 we have like a minus 6 dB right here, right? 5 to 6 dB is most ideal for IOR24 link width 24 crossover. And for this high pass side, right, we also try to achieve the same thing, which is about 3,000 plus 5 dB around here. You see, okay, crossover is important because when you sum it up and it doesn't come flat, a lot of tuners, they EQ them down again, which is double EQ, is not good. So I'm going to show you how we're going to EQ the tweeters right now. Okay, the thing about Smaart is whenever you tune with Smaart, always remember to look at these two bars, right? It needs to be yellow and not too much of the read. So you can see here we have first we look at the time. We can see that it is more or less in time, but then when you look at phase, right, it's pretty bad. So I'm just going to time align first, right? So at the time align first. So I try to, oops, too much. Come back a bit more right here. So you can see that it is in time, but when it comes to phase, right, it is not so much on the 4,000, right? So what can we do? Of course, we can try to flip the priority. Flip the priority and see. Okay, so it is not really in phase. You can see this line is not parallel to these two lines here. So we're gonna put it back. And then we're going to try to see if we can use this small little pick there and see if it comes back. Okay, you can see sometimes it's really not about, it is not about always the first pick, right? It is more about whether it is in phase or not. And most of the times, due to car acoustics, it is difficult to tell. So for Smaart users, right, if you can try to achieve something like this, it is more or less there. It is more or less there, right? More or less there, right here. Okay, so because if you touch time alignment, the crossover is still fixed. You get the proper crossover here. Okay, of course, I think you can go a bit more. Yeah, like this. Yeah, because if you look at this, right, and we zoom out, and then if you zoom in again, You can see it is just the start, and it is more or less, you know, in phase. So this portion, priority becomes irrelevant. Priority becomes part of the phase alignment. You can flip the priority and it could still be in turn. Okay, right. It's more or less there. Okay, this is for the left side. So we're gonna save the left tweeter, recapture, yes, and of course the decibel, we need to adjust it down. Okay, so when we're done here, then of course the last thing to check is make sure that the 4000 it's minus 5 dB. Obviously now the case is this is not right, so we're gonna correct it. So we're gonna make it 5000, 4000. Put our cursor here, 4000, try to reduce it. We want the individual drivers to actually sum up correctly. Now this is the step that we have to do. Make sure it is minus 5 point something decibel. Okay, make sure that 4000 is 5 point something. Now recapture it again, capture, yes. And if you see, the crossover was done, touched, we changed the crossover. In terms of time, let's try to align it again and see if it gets better or not. Let's try to see if we can easen the crossover and try to get it to the peak, which is, you know, more or less it's there. It's going in the right direction. If you can see, this is going in the right direction as this, forget about this irregularities here, right? If you look at this, 4000 is going down, this is going down. It's more or less, yes, it's in phase. And of course, if you look at this, it is 4000, it is minus 6 decibel. This is pretty much correct. And then if you look at the right tweeters, more or less it's the same thing, right? If you see, it is more or less in phase, but however it could do better. So we're gonna just increase the time a bit, and then because it's too widely spread, right? Let's try to flip the priority. Yep. So when you flip the priority, it is actually small on, seamless with the right side. But the issue is here, it is not actually summing up correctly. So we have to correct this. Right. So we're gonna correct this portion. So our target is here. We want it to go down. So we're gonna touch the crossover, move it down. It's a bit more. Yeah. So it's about this. It's about like that. So this is the ideal crossover that we're looking for. And when we look at the time, you notice the time has moved. Something like this would be better. So if you're wondering if I actually EQ my highs, you see, we don't touch the EQ for the highs. Now the issue is, of course, on the other side that we will need to cross over at 7000. I think we crossed at 7000 plus, right? And it was 5 decibel or 8000. I can't remember. So we're gonna close the tweeters and move on to the other pair of tweeters, right? So the other pair of tweeters, obviously, it is quite high. So it is totally off the line. So first thing, we need to lower the decibel, else if not, it's going to be very sharp. Okay, we're going to lower the decibel down. Okay, so now it's more or less flat. Now the next thing is, of course, we need to see the 5 dB. The 5 dB decibel, it's about, if you talk about, if you look at the tweeters, right? If we talk about 5 decibel, we're crossing about 9500. That is the actual crossover range. We're supposed to hit 9500. So what we're going to do is that we're going to change this. We're going to change the crossover here, 9500. Okay, so we're going to move it down. Don't worry about this. If it's like in cases like this, right, you can increase the dB. Okay, you either can EQ this portion to go up, which is 12,000. just 12,000. This is going to do a parametric 12,000. And then we're gonna increase it. Parametric 12,000, increase it. It's normal if you increase the EQ and the sides goes up. That's because the Q factor. I'm gonna recheck again, make sure it is 9,000, 9,500, right? So we need to touch the crossover again. Yeah, so it's about there, more or less there. In car audio, it's very hard for you to get perfect because it is not like home audio. You can't really make it perfect. Now it's a bit over. Let me just ease off a bit. Small crossover. Okay, it's about like this. About 9,500. Like this. Another 500. Go more. Do it bit by bit. Patience, perfection takes time. Okay, so it's about like this. This is about done. I'm gonna save it as RIB ribbon left. Recapture. Oops, sorry. Left. Recapture. Yes. The time is correct. Is the time correct? Let me see. Timing for 9,500. 9,500 is about here. 9,500. 9,500 is just here. So you can see there's actually a small phase issue right here. So what can you do? You can try to again flip your priority and see if it helps. In this case, if I move it a bit. So now I'm gonna move the graph a bit. 9,500. 9,000, 10,700. It's actually more or less in phase already if you flip it. I'm just gonna play about time and see if it helps. I think this is better. And this is gonna be either this or that because this is not a peak. This is not a peak. This is small little peaks. The very reason why I said that always focus on the small little peaks is because that in car there are reflections. Sometimes this is a peak, but all these are reflections. So if you're tuning based on looking at the highest peak, then those are probably the reflections and those are not the correct timing, right? So this is more or less done on the left, right? On the left. So let me just gonna save, recapture, yes. Match the curve right here. Then do the right side. So the right side is also more or less, we have to fix the EQ here. Let's fix this here. Yeah. It's gonna fix this portion. So we always try to cross over at the speaker's strongest, highest energy area. So you always try to do that. Why? Because it gives these a better hands off, a better phase response, best coherence for all. You can see this about -4. To give it a bit more. 5, some more. A bit more. More or less about that. So we've done already. We can see that the EQ is more or less there. It should sum up pretty well. Then next, if you look at the phase, right, remember we are looking for 9,500, so it's about there. It is in time, but not in phase. So if you want to match speakers, right, you have to make sure that it is stacking on each other or close to each other. In this case, if you look at this line, it is not close, neither is this. These are not close at all. Let's try to, as usual, flip the priority, flip it. Once we flip it, you can see that it's closer. It's much closer. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna play with time. Do a bit. It's either gonna be this or this. I personally will go with this. Right. So that's gonna recapture right side. So we have the left, we have the right, and then we have the tweeters all done. So now we're gonna turn it on and see what happens. So this is the left. Turn the tweeters on. You can see this. It will never be perfect, right? We just try to make it smooth, because if you try to make it perfect, you're gonna do a lot of EQ and it's gonna be lifeless. All these issues are caused by phase. That's why you can see that it is never gonna be pure flat, right? If you can see, the speaker itself, it's the 3-inch, it's not gonna be perfect. And so when you sum it up, it will not be perfect. There's gonna be a major cancellation here. Nothing much we can do. This has got to do with car acoustics. This is also the reason why same speakers with the same installation can sound differently in different cars. However, it doesn't apply to home audio because the acoustics are different. I think if I turn them on, I'm hitting the clipping point for my microphones. So that's it. This is usually how we get it all in shape for all our cars. If you have any comments, do reach out to me. I'm glad to share what I know with you. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do our door thumb alignment and how we're going to get it aligned right. So sometimes in car audio tuning, you'll be stuck in situation whether if I should reverse my priority for speakers or not due to phase and so on. You can see the left speaker is actually perfectly normal, and of course the right speaker we have to do a phase inversion. Why? Because due to the position of how it's being installed too close to the driver and things like that. You can see that if it's priority not wrong, right, you could actually correct it with time. That means if now time is about 5.3 millisecond, if we give it more time alignment, right, that means you're basically shifting it out of phase, out of the rotation, particular rotation. You can actually get it more or less in line. You can see that it's close, but then it's still far away because there's small little peak here, but this is not correct. So the proper way is, of course, always try to flip priority first, because you do not really need to delay as much if you flip the priority and it is correct. So I'm going to show you now if I flip the priority. Flip it. So this is before and this is after. If you pay attention to the phase line here, right, okay, even though it is more or less in phase, but then the timing is not correct. We are supposed to be at the first peak here. So in this case, this is one classic example that the timing is not correct, but the phase is correct. But the real truth behind car audio tuning is you need to get at least these two correct. So how do you correct this? So basically, reduce the time. Okay, go back to what it was. Right? You can see that every time we touch time alignment, okay, the phase changes, and every time if you change crossover, phase also changes itself. So this is what we see more or less in phase, because they are more or less parallel throughout its own frequency. That means for this particular speaker we are crossing about 60 to about 300, I think 302. So it's more or less there. Yes, you can see it's more or less there. There's slight out of phase here, which you can actually see if we turn on both sides. You can see that there's a dip right here. Else if not, it'll be one smooth curve, right? So when we talk about phase, we talk about time, it's always trying to get the proper response. If you're not able to get the proper response, well, at least at the crossover point, get the best possible response from the speaker itself. So the crossover can do its job and cross over the other speakers properly. So right now, I can say that I'm pretty much done for the doors. And we're just going to save this as my right door. Recapture, yes, and of course, as usual, because the volume is different, I'm going to just raise the dB here so that it looks more or less the same. Now I'm going to move to the 3" now. This is the 3". Now you can see that when it comes to time, it's a bit choppy, so I'm going to press alternate F5, make it small, and of course try to zoom it in. You can see the time is spot on. Now, is the phase correct? Yeah, so you can actually see that, yeah, yes, it's probably correct, but then after EQ you need to recheck your acoustic crossover zone just to make sure that they are all still where it was. If they don't sum up correctly, you will not have a smooth curve. So always remember, after equalization, you need to recheck your crossover, your time alignment, just to be sure, right? Okay guys, I'm doing the time alignment with Smaart. So I'm going to share with you a couple of things. Now in car audio tuning, right, or all sort of tuning, there are actually 3 items. Firstly, we talk about impulse time alignment, and then next we talk about phase alignment, and next we talk about the frequency curve, which is the acoustic crossover, the actual crossover of what frequency it is. So you can see that we talk about time alignment, right? If I try to move this a bit to show you how it works. So when I reduce the delay, right, you can see that it actually changes phase, right? So basically, this brown or gold color line with this cyan color, it is my dome tweeters. I have another pair of ribbon tweeters. I'm crossing them acoustically about 7,000, and where my physical processor, it's showing 8,000. Yeah, that's because of the car reflection and acoustics. So I want to show you this, right? So how do we do time alignment for using Smaart? So this is basically done because you see the impulse is correct. Next, if you look at the phase, right, the phase is actually in phase, it's actually right in line, not so much, but you can actually do better, but I think it's good for now in this area. And then if you look at the physical crossover, as you can see that because right, this line is about 15, right, you can actually see that the actual crossover is here. Okay, this is for the ribbon left. I'm just going to save it ribbon left here. That's my ribbon left right here. I'm going to do a recapture of the. So sometimes when you recapture, you have to see the decibel could be off. In my case, we have to add the decibel up to the green line. Right. So this is I need to click on the left, pump up a dB so that it actually looks the same as the green line. Okay, a little bit lesser, so somewhere around here. So this is for the left. Now for the right, that's where we are looking at now. This is the right. So the moment you see this, right, that means the time alignment is not at the same time. Hence, you can see that the phase is all jumbled up. You can't actually see properly. So what we're going to do here now is actually to fix the phase, fix the time alignment. It's basically, we're going to move this. As you can see, when we try to move, it moves the time alignment in Smaart itself. I'm just going to keep moving till I get the small little impulse on the right about there, like this. If you can see, right, there is a correlation between time and phase. Closing at 7,000, this is where we were supposed to match, and just a bit more, just a little bit more. You can see that it is more or less, yes, it is there. Yeah, so time is relevant to phase, okay, relatively to phase. And if you try to flip the priority, right, Now if you try to flip the priority, you can see phase changes. And the most important thing is that you're able to match the phase between the two different drivers. Matching the time, the phase, and having the correct crossover acoustically here means you actually done a good job in terms of car audio tuning. Now, of course, there are many things into how we can get this. Okay, this portion, when we look at the drivers, there are many dips, and we just have to make sure that the crossover region is the correct one for the drivers. So this it's more or less done for the tweeters, right? So we're just gonna save RIB, right? We capture this. Okay, so we're done capturing the ribbon. This one, I think it's also below, so I'm just gonna add it up here. Right, so when we're done on the left and right side, right, usually what we want to do is that we want to turn on the left and the right together at the same time. And what we observe here is that areas that are in phase, if you look at this, right, they are naturally in phase to give a higher energy output. Areas that have phase issues due to reflection, due to car acoustics, they usually have a lower energy output. And our crossover regions are always preferably in areas that it has a low energy output, and then as such we output to another speakers to hand over the workload. I'm just gonna turn on the tweeters here now, so you can actually see. Yeah. So there isn't really a true flat. I mean, if you want to go ahead and EQ them flat, yes, you probably could, but you bear in mind that the more EQ you do, certain parts of the phase will be affected as such that the sound would be affected, right? So now we're done for the tweeters. I'm just going to work my way to the 3-inch. So this is for the 3-inch. Now you can see that it was previously time aligned correct, but now it is not so much. Why? Because every time when we introduce EQ to our DSP, right, there's always a delay being input into the system itself. So always do check and check. Make sure that all are in time and in phase. So for this vehicle, we have to redo the time, the phase portion for this vehicle. Yeah. This is for the 3-inch. Now it's in time, and the other side, let's try to get it in time first. Right. Yeah, just like this. Okay. And then we'll try to look at the doors. The doors should be pretty much easy. If you are working on doors or subwoofer and then you have difficulty finding out where the phase is, just press alternate F5 and then try to hit the plus button, enlarge the waveform. So you can see that the doors are 0 on, spot on, and it is 11.72 seconds delay within the system itself. Okay. So if you want to time align all the speakers to the furthest speakers, right, we just have to make sure that the Smaart default line here is aligned for the first peak of most of the speakers. Right. So first peak, a small peak also consider a peak. Why? Because in car there is reflections. We always have to remember in car there's reflections. Sometimes the reflection itself can cause quite an issue to your tuning if you're not paying attention. Right. So we have to go back a bit. Yeah. So it's about like this. So we're gonna try to work our way from the doors again, as it's preferably if you can start on the doors, and sometimes if you notice the time alignment is out, then else if not you have to redo the whole process that I showed you, right? So I'm going to work this out and probably show you the outcome quickly.